Well, hello, and thank you for that. Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome. We are so very excited to give individual investors access to management teams of some of the most interesting corporations out there. I really, truly believe it is the time of the individual investor. During our discussion, as Dan said, please feel free to submit any questions, and we'll do our very best to answer them. Right now, I am absolutely thrilled to have Laura Kiernan from High Touch Investor Relations speaking to me about Cinedigm. Laura runs investor relations at Cinedigm, and I have to say, it is absolutely an incredible time to be talking about the company. Laura, welcome.
Thank you so much, Agnes. I'd like to just share my screen for a moment. Let me do that. With a couple of slides, two very high-level slides, which will help me talk through my script. Can you see the slides, Agnes? Agnes? Are you able to see the slides?
Yes, I can.
Oh, okay, good. Sorry
yes,
about that. Okay, so thank you so much for inviting us here today. We're thrilled to be here. And as you may know, High Touch Investor Relations, we specialize in working with companies that are at a pivotal moments when the story needs to be communicated in a fresh way to targeted investors so that the company can be recognized for that transformation in the capital markets. Generally, we work with clients for 24 months, and during which time we see the transformation play out in the company's operations as well as in the capital markets. We're thrilled to be working with Cinedigm on their transformation, and we've been working with them for a few months now. It's really the best time for us to help the company introduce the story to you and your audience. Please note that we will be releasing our year-end earnings on Wednesday, July 14th after market. So our discussion today will be limited to high-level strategy and previously reported information. I'd also like to caution investors that certain statements I make today will be forward-looking and are covered under safe harbor provisions. Investors should refer to the risks we've noted in the company's press releases and filings with the SEC. As background on Cinedigm, the company has been an innovator in the digital transformation of the entertainment industry for more than 2 decades. Over the past few years, the company has transformed from a digital cinema equipment and physical content distributor to being a leading independent streaming company of channels and content driven by technological innovation. As their digital cinema and physical content business has wound down, they have invested significantly in growing a fan-centric, enthusiast audience that consumes their nearly 20 streaming channels of content. The primary source of their revenues are now generated by the subsegment called Cinedigm Networks, which includes their streaming and digital revenues. This revenue model includes ad-supported video on demand, or AVOD, subscription video on demand, or SVOD, and free ad-supported linear television, or FAST. The company will provide more detail on the subsegment when they release results on Wednesday. As part of Cinedigm's transformation, including most of their digital cinema assets to AMC Networks, the company previously reported that nearly all of their debt has been eliminated and they have a solid cash position, which they are expected will be invested in driving sustained growth of their streaming business going forward. Now I'd just like to point you to the high-level strategy chart that I've shared with you. And I'd like to lay out what we view are the company's key investment highlights. So number one, the company is leveraging a diverse enthusiast content portfolio with a loyal fan base that is focused on a large total addressable market. To name a few, the company has an indie film label, Fandor, horror content, Screambox and Bloody Disgusting, family entertainment, the Dove Channel, and iconic entertainer channels, including Bob Ross and Elvis Presley. The total addressable market for this content globally is estimated to be $3 billion just for the enthusiast market alone. The streaming category is growing at 13.4% globally, according to PwC and Murray Asset Securities. That's being driven by AVOD and SVOD primarily as digital advertising spending continues to increase and cord cutting by younger generations who subscribe to their favorite content continues. Number two, Cinedigm is well positioned in this changing landscape, and they are driving growth through technological innovation, which is a major competitive advantage. Cinedigm has a world-class proprietary streaming platform that enables the company to deliver great streaming experiences at massive scale. Their SaaS-based distribution platform, Matchpoint, is expected to automate film and television distribution while creating and curating new channels for streaming platforms. And number 3, by executing on key initiatives, the company expects to deliver sustained growth, thereby generating value for shareholders. These key initiatives are focused around 4 main buckets: content, technology and distribution, audience, and financial performance or metrics. For content, they are executing on a roll-up strategy by completing several content-related acquisitions, enabling fast AVOD and SVOD growth. For technology and distribution, they have dramatically expanded their streaming content business through the Matchpoint platform. They plan to launch and scale their portfolio by building an umbrella or channel hub. They have established key partnership deals, and they are licensing film and television content to every key player in the streaming ecosystem. For their audience, they are growing their monthly active users significantly. And Eric Opeka will tell you more about that, those latest streaming trends on Wednesday when we report. And finally, for financial performance and metrics, the company is monetizing residuals related to the digital cinema business, paying down their debt and enhancing their liquidity. Now that they've hit a trough, they are well positioned to drive EBITDA through their achievable growth targets. And so, Agnes, what I'd like to do is hand it back over to you while I also flip forward to the channel pages so that you can see what our different channels are.
Right. Can you tell me a little bit more about the transformation that the company is undergoing? I know you mentioned a little bit about it, but what exactly are they doing?
Well, the company has been going through a transformation over the last several years, really, as we've seen the media and entertainment landscape evolve. They were pioneers in helping convert the digital cinema business from reels to digital. But as you know, people are, receipts at a box office are down, and people aren't going to the cinema nearly as much as they used to. So, this was a trend that obviously they saw a long time ago that was coming. So they had to evolve. And while they continued to work on essentially selling their digital cinema assets to pay down all the related debt associated with that business, they started acquiring and developing their streaming and content business. And so what this does is it really allows them, again, by leveraging their technology, they also invested heavily in technology to be on the forefront of the media and entertainment business by developing these enthusiast channels that essentially fans really watch, they become addicted to, so to speak. And then they now license this content and distribute this content across the ecosystem.
Got it. So you mentioned fan-centric, enthusiast audience. What exactly does that mean? And tell me a little bit about what that focus is.
Well, so the focus is on, for example, family entertainment. The Dove channel really speaks to family entertainment. So for people who want, a clean, heartfelt channel experience, without mentioning any competitor channels, they can watch the Dove channel. Parents can put the Dove channel on and know that their kids are, safe watching it. If you're into horror, the horror film genre, and you just love watching horror, you can watch Bloody Disgusting, and watch every single horror movie that ever existed. If you're into Elvis, you can watch all of his. That channel hasn't launched yet, but it will early next year. And the company recently announced the partnership with the family the estate. But that channel will be for, I can think of, like, my mother was a huge fan of Elvis and absolutely adored him. So I know she'll be watching the Elvis channel. So it's really about these channels that have, really, it's sticky audiences. They love a certain type of content, and they just come back to watch it, over and over and over again. And whatever's next on their channel, that's what they're serving up.
I know you said your mum will be watching Elvis. I'll be watching Elvis. Are you kidding me? I'm all over that.
I will be watching Elvis too. Who knows? Maybe, I think we're gonna have a whole new explosion of Elvis fans everywhere. So.
Oh my gosh, for sure. I'm so excited. Sorry. I digress. Can you tell me some of the trends that are happening in the industry?
Yeah. So I think that it's no surprise when you look at what major media companies are doing, like Disney Plus, launching of Disney Plus, HBO Max, Hulu, Netflix, Amazon Prime, all of these streaming channels. In terms of media trends, the way that people are consuming their content is whenever and wherever they want. So it's on their iPad, it's on their phone, it's on their television, it's at whatever hour they want, on demand, essentially.
Yeah.
And so this really caters to that consumer trend and that consumer habit, that consumer desire, so that they can have the channels at their fingertips when they want to watch. It's interesting because we were recently at the beach, and I remember seeing this. It had to be a 15-month-old baby with a phone screening, and so, children these days, even from infancy, are essentially taught, how to consume content like this. So this is really, how the world has evolved, and everything is streaming and at your fingertips.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry.
No. Go. I was like, I'm excited about the growth strategy and how you're taking it to the next level.
Absolutely. So the growth strategy is really interesting. Now that they have a very solid balance sheet, they have a lot of cash and virtually no debt. They can execute on this roll-up strategy. So their strategy is really two-pronged. One is drive organic growth by improving upon the interface and the accessibility and everything around accessing the content. And it also revolves around acquisitions. So continuing to acquire content, and as you might imagine, content is becoming available and at a very good price. And so this gives the company really an opportunity to acquire content very inexpensively, enthusiast type content that will be viewed by its audiences globally, and it will get put onto their platform, which is this very strong technology platform, Matchpoint. And then they are also building on their partnerships. So they have partnerships in terms of content with every major content provider, including Amazon, Netflix, and so on, Disney Plus. And then they also have partnerships with providers like Roku or Samsung, those types of providers. And so that really makes up their growth strategy, and then they can leverage their relatively low cost base to start to build their EBITDA.
Yep, that makes sense, of course. As you mentioned a few initiatives, what are the the key initiatives that the company is focusing on?
So the top initiatives. So I'm going to pull up my cheat sheet here for a second, just so I don't miss anything. So the company has really and we'll go into this more on Wednesday when we release results, but I can tell you at a high level. So from a content standpoint, we're continuing to, to build the content portfolio with these streaming enthusiast channels through organic and roll-up strategy. On the technology and distribution platform, they're expanding their presence, their accessibility through this Matchpoint platform, and they recently just completed an acquisition that will allow them to roll that out even more broadly and at scale. And we will be building an umbrella channel so that you can access all of these channels in one place, in addition to all the places you already access them. And then we're going to continue to license television and film content to every key player, and we'll probably be announcing some interesting new partnerships on Wednesday. And audience, at the end, you really you need consumers to consume that content. So developing the audience that will consume this content, and at the same time focusing on continual improvement of the balance sheet, the income statement, key performance measures that will all drive shareholder value.
Yeah. So, I am all about the individual investor. The retail investors is where my passion is. Tell me some of the key reasons why individual investors should be excited to invest in Cinedigm.
Well, it's interesting because individual investors, retail investors, make up the vast majority of investors in Cinedigm. So, the company sees itself as very loyal to this investor base. Yeah. The things that make it exciting is I think we're really at a pivotal moment. So the company has definitely dealt with challenges just dealing with, everything that's been going on in the industry for the past 5 years or so as it pivots and transitions. And so if I'm a retail investor, I'm looking at the story and I'm saying, hey, not many people really know about this story. It's at a pivotal moment. They've hit a trough and they're on their way back up. And we've actually seen really significant institutional interest over the last 3 months, which in some ways is a little bit of an early indicator that the story is getting traction. So, we know this is one of the best times ever to be looking at the story when most people don't know about it. They don't really understand it quite yet, but we will be, really launching this strategy over the next year or so amongst both the retail and institutional shareholder base.
Okay.
There's also a lot of liquidity, even things like that. It's very easy to trade this stock. So it's not a hard stock to, acquire in the open market, so to speak.
Very good. Hey, I've got a couple of questions that have come in from individual investors, if that's okay.
Absolutely.
Thank you. The first one is you've mentioned, Netflix and others, but somebody asked, who actually are the main competitors of Cinedigm?
So who are the main competitors? It's really interesting that you ask that. So I'm going to pull up another cheat sheet of mine. So, what I think about, there are capital competitors. So who are we competing for capital amongst? And then there are true direct competitors. From a capital competitor standpoint, we see ourselves being in the category of streaming entertainment. And that would include businesses, like Netflix, WWE, Chicken Soup for the Soul, and even some of the mega cap conglomerates like Walt Disney, Viacom, CBS, Discovery, Fox, those sorts of companies. From a more traditional competitive standpoint, the company really, it's an independent. It's really independent content. So it doesn't necessarily directly compete with other streaming out there in the same way that you would, it's not, it's very diverse and it's independent and it's enthusiast. So it has like this core fan base. And so in that way, it doesn't compete nearly as much as, you know, like even if you're saying it's going to compete against a Netflix or an HBO or a Disney Plus, because the fans are really coming to these channels for their content. It plays very friendly in the environment because it really partners across the board. So it's partnering with Amazon, it's partnering with Hulu, it's partnering with all the, all the different players in the ecosystem. So yes, while it is a competitor, it's it's in a very unique position, I would say.
Very good. So you have competitors and partners at the same time. I like it.
Yes. So they're invested in our success.
Very good. There's one more question that's come in, and it's more about the market size. I know you mentioned 3 billion for the enthusiast, but somebody's asking, what is the actual total market size for this?
So I meant to say 3 billion in the United States for enthusiasts. It's actually estimated to be 10 billion in the United States alone. The global market obviously is much, much bigger than that. So their small piece of that, which is growing very rapidly, indicates that there's, huge opportunity for them to grow.
Very good. One more question. Are you guys just in the US at the moment, or are you global? And if you, firstly, question is, are you in the US or global?
So we're primarily in the US, but our content is streamed globally. In some cases, we're licensed only in the US for certain types of content. But yes, we are global, and especially through the technology that we are continually enhancing and leveraging, it will allow us to serve audiences everywhere.
So US focused, but definitely going global.
Yes, absolutely.
Fantastic. I'm just excited about the Elvis channel. So Laura, I know we're coming up to an end of our time. That's it for the questions from me and the audience. I'd love to hand it over to you for some closing remarks. First, I want to say it's such a delight speaking with you. I'm really excited about Cinedigm, and I'm excited about where you guys are heading and what you're doing. I'm sure individual investors are as well.
Thank you. And I also want to thank you and Dan for putting on this conference. It's, a huge honor for us to participate in this conference and be able to present to you like this. But I would like to make a few closing remarks, if that's all right. Just to close out and summarize, I'd like to say that the company has completed its multi-year transformation to become a leading independent streaming company of channels and content, leveraging their industry-leading digital technology and independent content distribution capabilities. As part of this transformation, they have almost fully transitioned their mix of revenue, with streaming digital revenues making up close to 80% of their revenue base. And that trend is expected to continue towards nearly 100% of revenue in the coming months and years. The company expects to see explosive growth ahead by focusing on the streaming category. Not only is there a huge potential market for the company's portfolio of enthusiast streaming channels, this strategy and their channels are perfectly complementary to the big general entertainment subscription services investors are focused on, like Disney Plus, and Netflix. So we are operating with little competition. This, along with the company's relatively low content and marketing costs in the ad-supported business, plus launching established brands like Bob Ross and Elvis Presley, also enables Cinedigm to take a portfolio approach to their channel business, not betting the ranch on any one mega channel, but adjusting their portfolio based on market response in a very efficient, high-margin manner. Cinedigm is a unique investment proposition situated squarely in the middle of the best part of the business, growing explosively, both organically and via a roll-up acquisition strategy. Please direct any questions that you have to me at cinedigm@htir.net, and we will get back to you following earnings, which is this Wednesday. You'll find a link to this presentation and our fourth quarter results and the conference call link for investors on Wednesday afternoon on the company's website at investor.cinedigm.com. Thank you so much, Agnes.
Laura, Stockfolks is delighted to be speaking with you, and I know we'll be working closely together. Earnings on Wednesday, everybody, call in because it's such an exciting time for the company. I am literally giddy for it. I love companies pivotal and changing and growing and being at the cutting edge of what they are doing, and Cinedigm is definitely one of them. Laura, thank
Yes,
you
it's a
so much.
gem. You're
Yeah,
welcome. Thank you, Agnes.
thank you
Take care,
so much for your
everyone.
time. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.